How to be the best version of yourself. Now, if I were to talk about my life, I would say I grew up to be very, very shy. I was a very shy kid. I did not want to speak in front of the class. I did not want to do any presentations. I was scared to be in these big groups where I could not even socialize with anybody. I grew up very, very shy. And if you feel like you're on the same boat, well, allow me to share my story. And I just grew up in a very loving household. I thank God that, my parents were always there. They were showing me the rights and the wrong ways of, doing things. That way I could learn to be a better kid. But when I would go to school, I didn't really know where to fit in. I just felt like I was very introvert. I was a very introverted child. I just did not want to socialize with anybody. For me, what I pretty much wanted to do was go home, play some Mario Strikers, eat some Mexican candies or bolillo with some butter. You Hispanics know what I'm talking about. That bolillo with butter and some sprinkle of sugar. That's what I wanted to do. So I would go to school, come back, want to play Mario Strikers, and for me that was it. That was my priorities as a kid. And growing up, then going to middle school, having to face all of these assignments and presentations where I had to stand up in front of the class, I just didn't like to do that. I would freeze up. I would get so scared that my hands were shaking. And then going into high school, where now we're faced with this pressure of, do I fit in? Are the other students gonna think I'm cool? Is the girl that I'm trying to impress, is she gonna think I'm cute? All these things go through the mind of a high schooler, of a middle schooler, and nowadays maybe even elementary school kids. We all want to fit in. We all want to think. We all want to get past, these pressures of our peers. And like I said earlier in the video, I was a very shy kid. I did not want to speak up. I wanted to always just fit in. And even right now, I am kind of shy to an extent, right? Obviously I'm doing YouTube. So I'm in front of a bigger audience. I'm in front of a bigger pool of people now. And if you clicked on this video, it's because you want to improve. Now, obviously, I do not know you. I'm speaking to just this camera, this iPhone right here. And I just want to give you guys my insights, my story of how I grew out of my shyness and more into a very kind of extroverted personality, where now I engage in conversations. I talk to a lot more people. I make jokes. I make people laugh. I break the silence by speaking to people through an icebreaker question or through just asking questions. If you really want to break out of your shyness, then one really good tip I would give to you guys is to just ask questions. Ask questions. If you're trying to become a better small talker, then ask a question. And based on the response, you need to kind of pick and choose where you want to lead the conversation into, right? I'm not saying that in order to become a better if you want to become a better small talker, you do also need to put your part in this. If you want to become a better basketball player, you're not just going to sit back and listen to tips of basketball players and then all of a sudden now you're a professional basketball player. No, you also need to put in the work. So if you want to become a better version of yourself, you want to become a better socializer, you also need to put in the effort. So going back to the conversation, if you ask a question and they give you an answer, okay, based on that answer, you need to pick and choose what other topics that are related to that answer or question. You need to carry the conversation more and more. It's not just simply asking the question, getting the answer, and just being like, cool, and then walk away. Obviously, you could do that, but that is not going to make you a better person or a better socializer. So that's what helped me. What helped me, honestly, if I were to give you guys my experience, is I got my first job at a local coffee shop. And that was my first ever job. I was scared to talk to customers. I remember my first day of training, they had another coworker go in front of the register, and they kind of like LARPed, for all of you, this new generation, they LARPed as a customer. And they asked me questions, and I was a little shy. Don't get me wrong, I was a little shy. I was like, oh, where are the buttons here? Where's the mocha frappuccino button? This and that. And then they would ask me questions where I would kind of need to improvise, right? Like, oh, can I customize this? Can I do this? Oh, this. And through that practice of becoming a cashier, because obviously when you're a new employee, you don't know how to make the drinks. You don't know how to make, any of the lattes. So what they do is they just put you as either the cashier or the drive-through person, because that's pretty much all you could do. And by being a cashier, being exposed to all these people that are coming in for a latte, for a pastry, or they want to come do homework and they want to just chill out, I interacted with a lot of people. That in itself got me practice, and that gained me the confidence to continue talking to people, just asking more questions. Hey, how are you? Hey, how's it going? It taught me how to greet people. It taught me how to handle a lot of situations where people are going to either be, more, they're going to be mad, or you're going to get some happy people, or you're going to get those serious people. You're going to get customers that are kind of annoyed. You're going to get customers that are just as talkative as you. And that allowed me to get experience, to carry conversation, and to just be a better version of myself, because it allowed me to open up as a person. I was not a shy person anymore. And then apart from that, I had like dozens of coworkers there, because it was a very, very busy coffee shop, and I was mainly working the night shift. And for a lot of you guys that know those very popular coffee shops that are very busy at the night, that allowed me to communicate and to socialize with my coworkers, and apart from that, socialize with a lot of customers. So I got my reps in. I learned how to, carry conversations, to make small talk, to ask questions, and in that area, I learned to become a better speaker. I learned to become a more active listener. I've learned to just, improvise with, my topics. Sometimes it could be a topic that's not even related to what we're talking about, and I just ask away the question or ask away the topic, and that just carries a conversation. Like a coworker could have came in, and instead of it just being there kind of awkward or silence, I'll be like, hey, I like those shoes you're wearing. I'm actually planning on buying those shoes next week. Like, or what are things that, or do those shoes get dirty, or are they comfortable, or do you get a lot of compliments when you wear those shoes, or what made you pick those shoes as opposed to the now popular, this shoe? These are just things that, you come up with, and you become better as you get the practice in. So if you really want to become a better version of yourself, you need to honestly just, oh my gosh, did this trash guy really need to pull up here right now while I'm talking? Yeah, and if you want to be a better version of yourself, you kind of need to develop your own personality and turn it up by like 2 or 3 notches. Nowadays, if you stand out, that's pretty much the key. All of our middle school years and high school years, they taught us that we need to fit in. Or they didn't teach us, but it was kind of like, I don't know, we were just built to want to fit in. We were built to just not stand out, because we didn't want to be that outlier. We didn't want to be made fun of. So what we did is that we just adopted all of these norms and all of these things to fit in with our peers. But now, out here in the real world, where we're working a 9 to 5, now that social media is this big old industry, they're telling us and they're incentivizing us to stand out. and to be the outlier, to be the purple cow that you see on the street. We need to stand out, because that is what, makes someone their own person. And to all the younger generation, if there's something that I could tell you guys, is that don't fall into the trap that you need to fit in. Stand out, be your own person, be the person that goes the other direction instead of the way that the whole crowd goes. Learn to stand out and learn to just be yourself. We need to just be ourselves in this world. And that's something that also helped me be the best version of myself, is to communicate with people exactly how I want to be communicated to. Learn to be myself in every situation. If I'm at work and I feel like I have to put on this persona, that's not really me. Like, I want to be able to be myself around everyone. And that's something that I'm still working towards to this day, because I want to be myself completely 100%, even though I know that sometimes I'm put in a situation where it's kind of like, well, what do I say? I want to get to the point where I could just be myself literally everywhere that I go. And that is something that I feel like a lot of people still don't do. And I feel like a lot of people are stuck in this very gray area where they're kind of like, well, I want to be myself, but at the same time I can't. If you can't, then I just feel like you need to build more confidence. And that's pretty much all I have to say today. If you enjoyed this video, then I'm sure you're going to love this video right here. So go ahead and click on it, and I'll see you there.